When they sent me to the sanitarium outside the city, I was only 9 years old. My parents waved goodbye with tears in their eyes, promising that I'd be back home soon. I hadn't even learned to ride my brand new and bright bike yet, and had never been to an amusement park. My world was basically just the small garden in front of our house. They dressed me in a standard hospital gown, telling me to be quiet and follow the doctor's words. The only personal item they allowed me to take was the old quarter-size violin that my grandpa gave me as a birthday gift. On sunny afternoons, I would hide in a corner of the common room and gently play that simple little tune taught by my grandpa, playing it just from memory. The sound was so faint, like a murmur. However, the sanitarium was by no means a place suitable for music. There was a smell of disinfectant lingering, along with the sound of hushed breaths and occasionally quiet sobs. Somehow, that violin and its faint sound became my only comfort there. There were 4 of us in total, me, Amy, then Lena, Marco, and the youngest, Hugo. We weren't related by blood, but seeing each other day after day in that world filled with white walls and strict daily routines, we became everything to each other. That friendship was forged by sharing a piece of smuggled chocolate, exchanging secret paintings on scraps of paper, and whispering stories about the outside world after the lights were out. We would watch the clouds change shapes outside the window together, envy the healthy children running outside, and look forward to all the little things we would do once we got better. Until the departure came in the way we feared. It was a perfect autumn day, and the maple leaves outside the window were blazing red. Marco was the first to leave. Just the day before, he was excitedly telling me that he would become a pilot and be as free as a bird when he got out. The next morning, his bed was empty and the sheets were pulled neatly. The nurse just quietly said that he had been transferred, but we all knew what that really meant. The crooked little airplane he drew was still tucked inside the lining of my violin case. Next was Lena. She always sat quietly by the window, immersed in a thick book. Her cough got weaker and weaker, and finally, she almost had no strength to get out of bed. One evening, as the sunset shone on her face, she fell asleep, propped up on her pillows. When the nurse came to check on her later, she had passed away. Her unfinished book still had the bookmark on the page where she stopped. Finally, only Hugo and I were left. He was the most lively among us, like a little beam of sunshine, always trying to make us laugh even when he felt bad. But the illness didn't care how optimistic he was. His breathing became shallower and more difficult, and his little face was almost transparent. One night, with the moonlight streaming through the window, he tightly grasped my wrist, and his voice was as faint as a gossamer saying softly, "Amy, play that song for me, the one you always play." I took out my little violin. The body of the violin felt cold in my hands. My fingers were trembling. I was extremely nervous, and the ball was unsteady, but I started to play. I played that simple and warm tune taught by my grandpa. I closed my eyes and tried my best to make every note clear and gentle. The room was very quiet, with only the sound of the violin floating in the air. Hugo didn't say anything. He just listened quietly, with a relieved smile on his face. After I played the last note and let it reverberate in the air, his grip on my hand loosened. 60 years have passed, and this violin has been with me all the time. Over these years, I've only played for them in my room late at night when no one else could hear. As I play that melody, It seems that I can almost see Marco's airplane, Lena's book, and Hugo's last smile. I'm afraid to stop, fearing that if the music stops, they will really fade away and disappear completely from my memory. But tonight, I want to play for them one more time, and this time, I hope others can hear it too. This piece of music is to remember those short lives, those lives that ended too soon, for those friends who never got to walk out of that door and grow up. For Marco, who wanted to fly, for Lena, who loved books, and for Hugo, who just wanted to hear one last song. Hugo, I'm going to play a wonderful piece of music for you now. Here I start.